Hey guys, welcome back to today's episode. We're gonna go over yesterday's trades and today's trades, and I think they went pretty smoothly. One of you guys commented on my video on Wednesday. To that person that commented, I want to say thank you for pointing that flaw out of mine. I'm not the best trader. I'm still a beginner. I honestly prefer that you guys comment and call me out for stuff because look, I'm still a beginner. I'm still learning, every day, and I'm still getting used to paying attention that hey, one indication has to support the other indication, and that has to support the buy or the sell. So I'm still learning, and I really appreciate that comment because to me it shows that you guys are watching, and that's what I want to see, that you guys are watching me grow and you guys are helping me out. So BSLK popped up Thursday morning, at the top of the hour, 4 a.m. and I waited for this breakout here at the top. I didn't take an early trade, and I was paying attention to the volume candles this time. I was trying to go for a pullback, and it did do a pullback. I got in right here, so I'm going to go over here. First trade, 403. I got in at 345. So around this area, I got in this red candle. I waited for a pullback. So I think I still got a little bit right in the middle, and then I didn't sell until 377. So that's more than 20 cents. That's about 22 cents, and I'll take that. That's over the goal, or not 22 cents, 31 cents. Sorry, and that's the goal, is to get 20 cents or more profit. So I get in here and I sell somewhere around here. It was pretty quick. I left a little bit of money on the table, but that's okay. The volume increasing right here, so there were two red candles, and then the volume picks up right here and it starts to peak right around this area and sells off again. My next trade was still on BSLK. I took about 100, 200. I took about 300 additional shares. This was at 404 and 406. So I waited for this pullback. I got in here, and I think it was a little bit too high because, as you can see, my entry for this was about 379. So it was really, really high, and I waited for it to go down the VWAP. So as you can see, it's at 328. So we're gonna see where that applies here. I got in at the top of this candle here. I should have been looking at the MACD crossover for the 10-second chart. That still matters. Even though in the 1 minute it's still up and open, it still matters, and that represents this red candle right here around this time frame. This whole 1 minute time frame, this is this 1 minute candle right here. So I should have waited for it to be a little bit lower before I took that initial position. But I got in around 328, so pretty low, the very bottom. So had I taken that first initial trade right here at the bottom, and it took additional two more, that first trade would have put my profits a little bit higher, but I had to sell for a loss. 379, 359, that's a 20-cent loss. So I missed out on $20, would have been $41. So that was my flaw. But I waited to add more once it reached this bottom, and I was waiting for this signal right here. This is a signal of reversal. Volume slowly picking up right here. It's a little bit choppy though. I'm going to be honest, it's not picking up as much as it would have versus here. You can see these bottom candles right here on those bars. It is picking up, and that represents this move on the upside. So it broke through this resistance level at $4. And let's see, where did I sell? So I sold, I believe, a little too early. And I sold early because I think when I was looking at this, I just wasn't too sure on this pattern. I don't remember what the level 2 was showing. I really need to record that. It's hard for me to record level 2 just because I feel like my trades or execution is going to slow down as I'm recording, because I have another monitor up and my computer's not really the best. So I don't know, I have to try it out. I'm afraid of my executions being a lot slower because there's multiple programs running at the same time. So that's the only fear, but I'll figure it out. So yeah, to me this was a little bit choppy, and I sold around here. So we'll go here, the time frame. So 407 is when I sold. Oh, just like the P&L for the week. So yeah, I sold around here. It was pretty early. I just kind of got scared. I still had profits. That's the thing though. I still had profit, and I was like, you know what? In case this dumps, I'm gonna sell. And it obviously kept going up higher. So profits would have been much higher, but hey, that's a learning lesson. And that was the only trade for Thursday. So Thursday, we're gonna close out of Thursday's tabs. We're gonna go to today's trade. Today's trades could have been a little bit better. I think I should have walked away. We had LAWR. LAWR was a initial public offering, so you can see this only had 2 trading days, yesterday and today. So I saw this and I was like, oh, I'm gonna take a trade on this. you know, float was 0, and yeah, I think I had a pretty good pop. So let's see, we'll go here. So yeah, yesterday's trade a little bit riskier, no news, but did meet 4 of the criteria. This one, I didn't really know the float. You had to go into the SEC filings, but hey, I still made it work. I have to get out of comfort zone at some point. I can't always be, in these barriers. I'm only gonna put myself in barriers where I'm in a really bad drawdown. But I'm recovering on the weekend. I was like, okay, I'm feeling confident, and I feel like I could take a riskier trade. So we'll go here. My first initial trade was not until 427 LAWR. So this was before 430. So my first trade was 495. So right here, same thing. I saw this pop up. So you can see I took my initial trade around this area. I was waiting for this to break. I took a trade, hoping it would break up. And it was picking up the volume here. So this is what I'm seeing. When I say I'm picking up the volume, now I know. These bars right here, this is what I was paying attention to. These bars are going to be increasing. This is going to support the initial move. If I'm seeing that, then that's a really good thing. And the level 2 was showing a lot of people in the bid too. There's a lot of buyers. I saw the tape was green. I was like, okay, this looks pretty good. I'm going to take a trade. And I took a trade and I got rewarded. 586. So yeah, first trade, $91. So I took initial position. Then I took another initial trade at 596. So why did I do that? I think I got a little too excited. So 596. Let's see where I can do better. So at 428. So this is a minute later. This is after this initial trade. So you see how I took a trade at 596 and it pulled back down to 536. So I was red and I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done this. So this was a little bit choppy. This is like a bit, I don't know. I don't think I should have taken any trade here for the purpose of, following my laws or following the criteria for taking another position as it's trending. I mean, I don't know. That's why I have to be looking at the level 2 to make sure and it's supporting these indicators that, hey, yeah, there is a lot of volume, but there was some selling here, but it wasn't strong selling. And then all of a sudden it pops up over 6. So I'm still holding and I get out for, a quick win to $32. So I was up 123 on the day. This is where I should have just walked away. I was like, I was like, okay, good. That's like the biggest day this week. Was the biggest day this week. So I stopped trading this. After that initial pop, I was like, you know what? I'm getting greedy. I shouldn't have done that. I think that trade was just lucky. Like I should have waited for a better confirmation. Maybe, I don't know. This is hard to predict. I don't see these patterns. Like to me, this is like a little bit off. So I'd be hesitant. I was going based off the momentum because it's an IPO, and typically the IPOs, it's not the first day of trading, it's the second day of trading, so there's a bit more risk to that, maybe more resistance because it hasn't been traded publicly before. So my next trade, what was this? FRSX. I lost $56, so I went from 123 to 66 on the day. So FSRX. So why did this go up? I took this initial trade. This was closer to 5 a.m. in the morning. Why say no to it? FRSX. So this is a penny stock. I like penny stocks because I can take bigger size, but just gotta be careful because they don't work the same way. They don't really have the same sort of momentum. Not all the time, but they don't really move like $2 to $10 stocks like they normally would. Float was under 20 million, so I was okay with this. What was the reasons? Well, news came out. There were some catalysts. So they have some sort of collaboration, and I didn't really look into this. I saw this momentum moving up. I was like, I can't miss this. And after I'm done trading, I don't look at this stuff. I should to maybe see why this was not a good decision, or maybe why it was a good decision. I'm pretty tired, but I need to start going back so I can hold myself more accountable. But anyways, I took my initial trade, 457. So I saw it pop up. Let's see right here. Yep. So it was going up, and these are pretty, let's see. These are pretty big candles, pretty big size. Look at this candle, 4 cents for a penny stock. 4 cents is like a pretty big move in one single candle. It's not that common. They don't really do that. Usually you move in smaller candle intervals. But hey, I got in, and I had some profit, but I was getting way too high. I kept adding right here. I think I was in 700 share position, and my average was around 64, 65. I let me see where I began to sell. I began to sell after about 5 minutes. So after about 5 minutes, I sell around 66. So I had some sort of profit right here, and it dumped, and I was like, oh shit, and it kept dumping, and it kept dumping, and then this is when maybe I'm looking at the candles, and I'm seeing these three candles right here at the bottom. I'm like, okay, it looks like the selling's heavier, and this was around. This is where I began to sell, and I'm like, that's a pretty big sell candle. Look at the red on that. That doesn't mean the whole candle is a sell. There's still some buying within that candle, but it just means the selling was more dominant. Hold on, let me sip my coffee. So compared to the previous two candles, which was pretty light on the, compared to the previous two candles, it was pretty light. So I should have just got out. Maybe this is something I can use as reference next time. So once I see this, that maybe it's not going to go the way it goes, and I could have lost a lot less, but I kept holding. I was like, okay, maybe there might be a bounce, But I do remember this one on level 2. There was two asks for 181, which would be about, let's see, you got 2 zeros, so it'd be about 18,000 shares. People were dumping, and I should have just recognized that and just took that as you need to get out now before it dumps. And unfortunately, it dumped before I could get out, and I lost 55, 56. But hey, I'm learning. I'm still a beginner. Say whatever you guys want. Just help me out. Help me out. You are a better. You become a better. Whatever you do, you become better at it when you teach others. So I really encourage the teaching. Like, I won't take anything to offense. I really want you guys to teach me. Just hey, like, maybe try doing this next time. Like, I'll take it into consideration. So on the week, we did really well. Yeah, I lost $56. Yeah, I would have been up $400. Yeah, I would have been up $150 on the month. But hey, we're out of the red. We got ourselves out of the red. Now it's okay. Keeping that same momentum. 5 days in a row green. Can't let this get to my head. Slowly building up my momentum again. Taking shorter positions. Initial trade. Get that first icebreaker like Ross always does, and slowly work the way up again. Do the same thing for the rest of my life. Day trading sounds easy enough, but if I can replicate similar weekly P&Ls, 353 wasn't even a weekly P&L I intended to aim for. I want 250. Why 250? Well, 250 times, let's see, 4, that's already going to be about 1,000 P&L, so on the month, which is good. So the fact that I'm hitting this target and more, I'm hitting the target by a lot more, then that's perfect. That makes me feel really good about, I'm able to bounce back from this. Yeah, it was a bit rough right here and here, but hey, that was in the past. It's all shit, But hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode, and hopefully you guys get a break. This was a long week, even for me. I'm just glad I can get a break. And yeah, I drink coffee because I go to practice, and I forgot to drink coffee in the morning. I have judo practice like around 8, so I need a little bit of a stimulant. It's only like 4 ounces, but I know what I'm risking. But yeah, let me know what else you guys are doing too in the comments. Like, what else you guys are trading. I currently invest in Rocket Lab. That's been over $50, which is super fantastic. I'm super happy. I got 200 shares on that. Average cost 30. I've sold before. I shouldn't have sold. This was like months ago. I realistically would have had like 500, maybe 600 shares. Should have kept buying. Shouldn't have sold. And then I invest into some drone stocks like ONDS, and then I invest into this one company called Prime Medicine. So that's just like more of my Robinhood account, like stuff that I do, and I sometimes play with options. I want to get better at them. You can really get good at it, and I feel like it helps you really kind of narrow down and hone your thinking. Okay, why is this a good strike price? What reason are you buying this for? What catalysts are you expecting for this to make this great move up? And earnings are coming around. We're gonna have like some pretty big earnings the next couple of weeks, especially when August rolls around. So could be some good momentum on that whenever we see stocks pop up. That's usually good for day trading. So and I'm gonna be betting on the Dustin Poirier and Max Holloway fight on Robinhood. You can bet they have the future contracts, so that's a pretty good way to make money. Honestly, any opportunity I will find, I'll try to, pound on it to make my money because, hey, dude, I'm broke. Most of us are broke. If we're doing all this, the day trading, we're doing this day trading for a reason. We're not just doing this just because we want to get out of this, 9 to 5 cycle. I know I do. And it's paying off. So I can't wait to see my progress from a year. I'm going to be looking back at all these videos and just be watching, like, damn, I used to trade like that. I'm going to clown myself. But yeah, have a good rest of your day, guys, and the weekend. Please get some rest, get some sleep. Sleep super important. I'm a hypocrite for saying that. I don't get as much sleep, but please get sleep. Thank you. All right, take care. Peace.